Alright, what is going on? If you have not been following along in this playlist, you haven't watched the Getting Started with Django or React Native or any of those, go watch those before you watch this. We already have some of our stuff set up, and so we're just going to keep moving forward. In this video, we are going to create the login screen for our React Native app and the first homepage, so what the user sees as soon as they log in. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm simply going to start up my Android app so we can watch it while we are working. Get those into view here. And this may take a second to boot up. Shrink that down, there we go. Okay, and we are going to open let's see, our screens. We're going to create a new screen, so we're just going to duplicate landing, and we are going to call it login. So this is going to be our login screen, and we're going to change landing there to login. We're going to save that. The app isn't going to reflect this just yet because we don't have it in our navigation, so we'll open our navigator.js and oops. We're just going to copy the landing one. We're going to change it to login and login. And we're going to copy this one. I'm going to say login. Okay. And change the component over to login as well. We're going to save that. Alright. Can't find variable landing. Where? Oh, it's probably in login. Yep. The bottom here, login. Save that. And what we should have is we should see landing show up, but we don't have Django running at the moment. So let's get Django running. Because of the fact our app pulls some of its settings from Django right now, I think it's setting everything to white. So manage.py run server. Get Django running, and then we're gonna go ahead and refresh React Native app, and it should. Let's open our landing page really quick. Let's see, app settings. It's going to here. Okay, so landing. We should have a couple of fonts here, and there's nothing showing up at the moment. So let's go to our styles. Outer page, background color. Foreground color. Let's try this really quick. We're going to set a border width to 2, and just so we can see if we can see the border. Black. And I am not seeing the border pop up. So let's try starting the app. Something weird has happened here. Let's go to global context and pull that into view here. Oh, there we go. Okay, so now it's pulling the settings from. Okay, so we will get rid of that ugly border now. Save that, and there we go. Okay, so that's our landing page. So really quick, let's create a little button in here to direct us to the login page. And we're actually going to change this right here. It's going to be navigation, route, and props. So this will allow us to navigate around. And we're going to import also a touchable opacity. So right here, text style equals. We're going to create a new style sheet for buttons. So we're going to say buttons app settings dot login. So this is going to be our login button. Oh, and actually this should be a touchable opacity. And then inside of that we're going to put a little text. It says login text. I'm not worried too much about the styles for that right now. Opacity. Okay, so now we got to import buttons. buttons from styles buttons.js. And then really quick, we're going to create that file, so we're going to duplicate one of these, and we're going to say buttons, and open that up, and we're going to export buttons, change the constant, and then we can delete these, and we have login. Okay, so this is our button, so this is where the styles for our button is going to be, and we're just going to save this, save it, and make sure that okay, so it popped up right there. It's very hard to see. So we're going to create the button just really quick. We're going to say width is, let's say 30%, and height of 25, and let's see, background color of, let's go white, and see what that does. Okay, text align center. Actually, it's probably align items and justify content center. I just want everything centered up in that button. There we go. So we have a login button. I'll see if I can open this up a little bit. Come on. There we go. So you got a login button right there. Right now, it does not do anything. So now in landing.js, we are going to say on press, equals, let's see, brackets, make this little arrow, and then navigation.navigate to login. Save that. So now when I click that button, it should send us to the login page, which I'm just going to set this to login. Or save that. Okay, so now hit the login button, and we are on the login page now. If I go back, it'll take us back to this page. See? There we go. So we have our login page base. It does not look good at all right now. That's okay. We're going to work on a lot of the styling here in a bit. So let's go ahead and let's take a look here. So we have the outer page, and I'm going to go to global context. I'm going to set, or not the global context, containers. I'm going to set the text align and align items all to center. Text align center, or not text align, align items center, and justify content to center. Save that. And if we go back, we should see the same thing here. Okay. And then let's go to fonts really quick, because we got that you're not logged in font that's really out there. So on here, we're going to say the width is 100%, and then text align center, and it centers it. Or if we have a long paragraph and whatnot, we can change this to like 80% or something, so it's not right on the edge, but it's not centered either. But for now, we're going to leave it all centered. So now in our login page, we are going to create a new container. So view style equals, and I'm just going to copy and paste that in a second. And then don't forget the closing view. And this is going to be like our login box. So we're going to label it form box. And right now we don't have that yet, so we're going to go and create it. Form box. For this video, I'm going to end up hard coding a lot of the colors and stuff. And then later on, we can work on tying it into Django. But right now, I simply want to create the login form, just so that way we have it. And then the next video, we're going to create the Django backend for the login. And so I'm not too worried about the styling right now. I just simply want the form so we can use it in the next video. So we're simply going to create a box, and we're just going to say width of, let's say 60%. Oops, don't forget the quotes. And a height of, let's say 50%. We'll see what that looks like. And the background color of, I don't want to do white, but well, yeah, let's just do white. Let's just keep it at white. No, let's do like a different shade of gray. So let's go here, hex colors or colorhex.com, and let's look for a shade of gray. Let's see if there's any gray palettes here. There we go. Let's see, that looks pretty similar to what we have, but we can do like that one, which is that guy. And we'll set that there. Okay, we'll save that, and there is our form box. Okay, so it's got sharp corners. It does not look very good. I actually want to make this, I think, bigger. So I'm going to do a height of, let's do 70%, see what that looks like. Let's do 70 and 85. I'm going to change the style a little bit. There we go. And it looks like it's not fully centered for some reason. We will worry about that later, I think. Let's just make sure there's no padding on here. Padding of 0. And then margin 0. And then let's make sure there's no margin on form box. 0. And then let's check the fonts, make sure there's no margins or padding. Let's turn all the margins off. Margin 0. It's just really weird. It's not fully centered for some reason. I'm not 100% worried about it, but it does look a little odd. Let's see what the other page looks like. Oh, right, because I didn't create that. Okay. Well, that's what we have for now. We're going to use it. We can fix it later. I am going to round the corners a little bit. And actually, no, let's go ahead and shrink this down. Let's go to 60 and 70. We'll go back down. And I'm going to actually change that to 60. There. Okay. And we're going to do border radius of, let's try 15 first. Okay, that's a nice little rounded border. Alright, so we have kind of where our inputs are going to be. So now, let's see, we are going to, excuse me, we're going to add our form in, there we go. Okay, so we are going to add a text input. So let's see, login, we can keep, I'm going to get rid of the exclamation. I want to clear that. I want to create a text input. And this is going to be, oh, actually, let's see. Place folder equals email. Okay, so we have our input there. You can see that it's working. So we're going to fix the styling of it here in a second. But I'm going to create another one, and that's going to be for password. And then I'm also going to add a text element to each of these with the label. Text, and then text password. Okay, so it looks a little duplicated, looks a little trash. We're going to fix that here in a second. Okay, so where's the landing page? I'm going to copy the style for the P, and we're going to use that for the email address and password. Oops. Let's see. Oh, style equals fonts. I didn't copy the whole thing. My bad. Style equals. Save that. Okay, there we go. So we have email address, password, and then we have these forms that don't look like forms currently. So we are going to make them look like forms now. And I'm actually going to change the P. We're going to create a new class for input label. And kind of a general class, input label. So we'll go to fonts. We're going to copy P. And the only difference I'm going to make at the moment is I'm going to get rid of the text align. So that way the fonts are to the left. Okay. So I'm going to create a new style. I'm going to duplicate the buttons. And this is going to be for inputs. And let's change that to inputs and inputs. Okay. And then in our login.js, we're going to import that one. And I'm just going to kind of copy one of these for the text input, and then we're going to change this to just text input. So you might have different forms of inputs. You might have like a calendar input or a date input or you know, a number input, that sort of thing. So this is our text input style. We're going to save that. It's not going to do anything at the moment because we haven't declared the style. But we're going to go ahead and do that. So this is text input. And we're going to set the width to 100%. And what we're going to do is we're actually going to set padding on the outside container instead of shrinking the text input. And I'll explain that in a second. Okay, so input or width, and then we're going to set a height to 25, and then we're going to set a background color to white. And let's just see what that looks like now. Let's see, it did not. Or get rid of the keyboard. That did not update. So text input. We'll just make sure everything's plugged in here correctly. Oh, that's why. So this is going to be inputs and inputs. There we go. Okay, so you can see. Okay, so it's not quite tall enough. It is hiding the text, and so we're going to set the height to, say, 35, maybe 50. Okay, 35. Oops. I meant to type that over here. Alright. So that looks like it is working okay. Now, as you can see, the password doesn't quite show the input yet. We're going to fix that later on. So really quick, we're going to add some padding to this outer container here. You can see how they just go edge to edge and it looks terrible. So under containers, form box, we're going to set padding to 10% and see what that looks like. Okay, that might be a little much. Let's try 7. We can drop it down to 6. That looks okay. And then, so we've got that. And I'm going to add one more style sheet. Let's see, duplicate. And it's going to be for margins. And let's see, margin. Oops. Margins. And we actually don't need to import app settings in this one. Because we're just going to do flat out margins. So we're going to do like 10%. And this is going to be, let's see, top 10%. Oh, it doesn't like dashes. And this is going to be margin top of 10%. And we're going to create a bunch of these. And let's see, all 10%. This is going to be just a margin of 10%. And then we're going to do like a bottom, right side, all that sort of thing. So let's do bottom, right, and left. And we'll leave it at this for now. We'll see kind of what things look like. Well, top 10% is the one we're going to use the most. We're going to use that. We're going to save that. Login. So first thing is I want to move the login kind of further down. I actually want to center this. So really quick, containers, form box. We're going to do a let's do it on align items to center and justify content to center. Okay, so I brought it down a bit. Looks kind of odd. Man, that login, this seems kind of odd where things are landing. Okay. Well, we're going to add some padding between the login and the email address really quick. So we're going to create an array. And we're going to import margins dot top 10%. And we've got to import our margin style sheet. So should have brought that down a little bit. Maybe it did. Okay, it did not. So margins dot top 10% margin top. Let's just change this to an absurd number just to make sure it's being used, and it is not. So let's take a look here. I believe that's correct. Margins. Try moving that in front of this guy and just see what happens here. May not like the multiple. Okay, did nothing. Okay, so yeah, this is being weird. Okay, so we are going to take off both the justify and the line items, and let's add the margins dot top 10% to the h1. Add in the array. Save that, and it does not seem to be doing anything. So let's put it in here manually. Do margin top 10%. Okay, so that worked. So our margins dot top 10%. This is not working at the moment. So let's try just doing this. Export default style sheet. We'll get rid of this because we're not importing up. Okay, there we go. So that did the trick. Margins dot top 10%, and that's simply because we're not importing value in there, and so it just kind of cleans that up. Okay. So I do want this kind of more centered. So let's change this to top 30%. Actually, yeah, we'll do the number. So we'll copy this. We'll do top 30%, and margin top is at 30%, and it drops it down. Okay, that's good enough for now. And then I am going to add the 10% in between the input labels. So on this one right here, going to drop it down. Margins.top 10%. And there we go. We have a little bit more space in there. Get rid of the keyboard. And then the last thing here is we're going to add a button. So we need to import our buttons style. And we're actually just going to go to the landing page, and we're going to copy this button right here over to login, and then import the touchable opacity. And then we're going to change, okay, we can actually keep that, and then we're going to get rid of the on press at the, actually, so on press, what we're going to do is we're going to send it to a function. So we're just going to say handle login And then in order to do that, we have to create the function handle login. And for now, this is just going to be an empty class that logs out logging in. So we'll save that. Okay, so we have our button here. It's not centered. It's not looking all that great. But the question is, does it log out? Or does it... Okay, so it does work. We are going to add that margin in there again. So we'll just kind of copy the top 10% margin right there. Drop it down a little bit. And then I'm going to go ahead and set this button. I'm going to change the login button to a width of 100%. So it covers the whole thing. So it looks like that. Alright, so that is what our form looks like. And then I'm changing the height to 35 so that it matches the inputs. Again, it doesn't look beautiful. Doesn't look amazing. But it's functional. I'm going to add a border radius of, what was the other one, 15? Alright, so that's our login form. Super basic. And the login should be, oh, there it is. Okay, so now one of the last steps is we gotta hide the text. For the password, people don't want other people seeing their password. And so we're gonna use, let me take a look here. Okay, so in our login, we're going to set a couple of things. So this text input, we're going to do an autocomplete type of email. This just helps with auto-completion on phones. And then on here, we're going to do autocomplete type is password. And I forgot to capitalize the C. And then for the password, we're also going to do a text content type equals password. And then same with the email, text content type equals username. Username password. And then, so right now this won't actually secure it. You'll still be able to see it, but it allows for autocorrect to work. Now what we need to do is secure it. So we're going to use a keyword called secure text entry equals, and this is going to be either true or false. So what we're going to do is actually, so we're going to create a state variable, constant secure password set secure password equals use state, and this is going to be set to true by default, and then use state right there. We're going to import that. Okay, and then we're going to set secure entries text entry as secure password. So the reason we're doing this is simply so that way later on, you know, as we're finishing off polishing details, we can add a little button here to allow people to view the password that they've entered. Okay, actually it did not update that. Secure text entry, secure password equals true. That should be true. Let's take a look here. Perhaps state equals true. Set that on the password, yeah. Okay. That's odd. Let's check this secure text entry. Let's just try setting it as true right here. Okay, so that worked. Using... Oh, I know why. This needs to be an array. There we go. And save that. Okay, so now it's working. You can see it hides the password now. So we've got our form. One thing to notice is these are not centered, the email. So I'm gonna, let's see, where's our inputs? Let's do a justify to center. This should, I don't know if it'll help much or not, but should help. Just verify that that's centered. Okay. So we have our form. However, right now we're not really storing the data that's entered. So we're going to create a couple more state variables. I'm just going to copy and paste this. So it's going to be there. And it's going to be email, set email, and password, and set password. Oops. And then we're going to set both of these to just blank. Okay. And then in our text input, we're going to add a couple things here. So we're going to do value equals, this one's going to be email. So this is saying that we should fill that with whatever is in the state variable. And then on text change, let's see, is that the right one? Yeah, we'll set text, oops, brackets, text, set email with that text. Okay, and we're going to do the same thing for the password. Set password. Now, to prove to you that this is working, when we log the console, logging in, we're going to console.log email, and we're going to console.log the password. So when I hit the login button, it'll print out those three items. So we're just going to put in tim@poyadev.com, and I'm going to type in a test password, and I'm going to hit the login button, and we should see it right here. Okay, so undefined. So I did not like something here. Let me take a look. Unchanged text. Let's see. Well, let's set that to quotes, but I don't think that'll affect it. Make sure I'm setting this up correctly. Yeah, that looks good. And value equals email on text change equals text, set email text, set password. Okay, so that should be working fine. It is not. Test. Okay, so it's not setting the which is odd because I have that right there. Use state email, set email. Oh, that's why. It's on change text. There we go. My mistake. Okay. So now we will retry that. tim@poyadev.com and test password. Hit the login button, and there we go. So we have access now to our email and password. So when we get Django set up for it, we will create the function here that will send that data to Django and verify it. So we've got the login form. Now what we need to do is create just kind of a base home page. So we're going to copy the landing page. We're going to duplicate it, and we're just going to call this home for now. Oops, call this home. And rename that to home and landing to home. Okay, and we're going to leave all that set up. We're going to get rid of the button. And one last thing is in login, when the login is successful, we are going to set is logged in to true. So we'll set is logged in, and we can get rid of that one. Okay. And then in our navigator, we need to add that screen. So it's the home screen, home.js. Copy one of these, home, home. And now here's where we're going to use, let me take a look here. Yeah, so we're going to use our isLoggedIn value to limit what screens a user can go to. So we're going to copy the global context over to our navigator. And we're going to import it as well. And then import use context. Okay, so all we need is logged in. So what we're going to do is right here, we are going to say, actually going to start at the top. I want to say, let's see, is logged in. And if the user is logged in, actually we're going to set if not is logged in, then they can view these screens. Otherwise, they have access to the home screen, and we'll close that off. So they can only view the login and the other screen if they are not logged in. Let's see, I missed something here. Oh yeah. So because we have multiple elements, we have to create kind of an empty guy right there. And there we go. Okay, so I have access to this page and that page. Login. But let's say I set this to go to the home page. Let's go to our landing. I want to tell this to go to the home page, but I'm not logged in yet. So, and let me make sure I got this set up. Home, yeah. So when I go to login, it can't navigate there because it won't even see that there's a home screen name. So let's go back to landing. We'll change that back to the login. We're going to fake login, and on fake logged in, after set is logged in to true, we're going to navigate to the home page. And don't forget, we have to change that over so we can navigate. So we're going to go to landing and copy that to there. Okay, so we're going to log in. Tim at, you can honestly just type anything in here because all it cares about is clicking the button. So I hit login, and now it takes me to the home page. And initially, because it took a second to set is logged in, it didn't want to navigate there initially, but it did navigate there. Because if we go to home and we change, let's just add another line, say you are home. So this is our home page, and then you can also see right there it says you are logged in. So now if I go backwards, it just closes the app because I'm logged in, and so it won't let me see this page. Now I'm not logged in again, but if I hit login, now I am logged in. Okay, so now we have kind of our login structure. We have our app, our login form. It's not beautiful by any means, but it'll work. And so in the next video, we will work on setting up the user login capabilities within Django.